myself, because I didn't agree with this at the beginning, but many stores have taken the names off of products in their stores for fear that a customer might go to a website and find that cheaper. And what I want to tell you today is that you've got to talk to your artists and create better relationships with them and make sure that you feel comfortable enough to share their name and their story and everything about them to your customers. Because the new customer that's coming along, the baby boomer is retiring and doesn't need a lot of stuff right now, but the younger generation wants to know everything about a product. They want to know that it didn't hurt the environment in the production. They want to know who made it. They want to know that they're supporting a family and a community. They want to know a little bit about the creative lives. Let's face it, everybody takes, well, not the people in this room, but everybody else takes a job that they don't love. And there's a fantasy that happens, that they create this wonderful fantasy about what the life of an artist is about, what the life of a gallery owner is about. And they envy you so much. And you have to share maybe the myth, not the reality, of what your life is about. That's what American Style does, and that's what I'm hoping you're doing every day. And it's really hard to do it without faces and names attached. Now, the first retailer that I ever saw do this effectively is the person who is the executive director of the Craft Retailers Association, Karen Holler. I walked into her little tiny store in Faneuil Hall in South Street Seaport. And she must have 5 million people coming in and out of that little store in that busy, busy retail location. And she said, it's so hard for me to tell stories. I can't tell stories all day. So instead, what I do is, at the time she had a Polaroid camera. And she was the first person to really get a camera pass and have it like forever. Karen would take photographs of herself with the artist and just stick them up next to every grouping of product. And that immediately told anyone looking at work in her gallery or shop that she was the person that owned the store, and that was obviously the person connected with the product. So it gave people an idea that, oh my gosh, this is all handcrafted. It never had to say the name of the artist, but it brought that human quality to those beautiful, beautiful things in her store, and it helped sell. And what I'm trying to tell you today is that the world is changing, and my new guru is John Gersma. John Gersma has written a book called Spend Shift. I don't know how many of you have heard this before, because I said it last night. Spend Shift opened my eyes to new statistical proved studies that consumers now really, really want to spend their money differently, and they want to spend it with meaning. That's all good news for us. It doesn't mean that they're going to stop going to Walmart or Target, but it does mean that they have choices to make, and they're going to make those consumer choices more carefully. And quality is over quantity, and things that are more limited production are over things that are mass production, and people are above it all. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about changing your store from being a place where products is into changing your store to be the center of attention in town, the place where people go for fun and entertainment and edutainment, and changing your store to be a community hub where people feel safe, welcomed, and very special by being in that store. Craft humanizes the way we shop. It humanizes our dollar that we spend. And we want to make that We want to honor the people that come into every store in some way. And I've always told artists, if they're at a retail fair, always ask the person buying your piece, have you bought from me before? You seem familiar. Say that to everybody. And if somebody says yes, say, oh my, you're one of my collectors. Because it validates them and gives them a label that you put on, a tattoo that you put on their forehead, and they walk out of there feeling very big and special. And I think you need to do that in your stores too. You need to say, oh, you're not one of my special customers. You really are a craft collector. It's so nice to meet people who are really committed to this. And start preaching. You are all about building a church, not just selling stuff. So these people here at the table today are going to teach us how to build a church. Okay? So welcome Ann Pfeiffer, Mike Stutland, and Brenda Griffith, and they're going to tell you their stories about how they've really taken their stores to a different place and made them community magnets and entertainment places and places where life happens, not just selling happens. Now, Craftsman House is a unique place. This is their local amoeba group. How many of you are members of a local Bally or amoeba group? Good for you. Everyone else, find your sustainable business group in your local town. I've just joined, in fact, the Buyers Market and the Rosen Group is now a partner. There are only 28 partners in the American Sustainable Business Council. And we are basically your U.S. Chamber of, you know how the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for the Defense Department and the Fortune 500? It's really only 20 businesses that they really represent. Well, the American Sustainable Business Council is the council for all the little businesses on Main Street. All the people that contribute to a better life and a better America. The people who care about the environment, the people who are a little bit more progressive in their politics, and wouldn't fight the raising of a minimum wage by a quarter. Those are the people that we're talking about. As a community venue, believe it or not, I don't know how many of you would probably gasp in horror at this, but they move all of their product to the side of the galleries and hide it in rooms so that they can have music concerts, like every week. And they invite folk artists from all over the country, and they only sell 50 to 60 tickets. And they have wine and cheese, and they sell these tickets, and the musicians come, and they're known for this. So they have a community, a very special community of people who are very interested in this alternative music. It's very folksy music, and it's very social action-oriented music. And they schedule these way in advance, and they sell them out a month before the event, every time. So it's a great way to be a community magnet and to reinforce social values and provide a different service to your local community.